specially invite you to join us on the show today for the next 90 minutes to take you through around the world of politics, a conversation around governance, leadership, and as we continue to ask for a decent way of life in this country. A couple of minutes back, I was talking to a very old friend of mine that also was in this business until he left and joined another industry, and we were talking about how people had left the country in their numbers. We were just going through our investor alumni group, and I felt like, oh, this one is here, and he said something, and you get into conversation with people outside of the country, and it's not like it's El Dorado where they are. It's not like it's all bed of roses where they are. It's basically about survival. And he made a statement that when you leave this country, it's not like you have luxury. You just have the basic necessity that if you work in this country, you don't have to go anywhere. That you don't have to pay to fuel your generator. You don't even need generator in those countries. You don't have to pay for your medicals through your nose. You don't have to break the bank to afford decent education. And he just listed those things on and on and on like that. And the last statement he made, by the way, is in the US. And the last statement he made was that the United States is just a Nigeria that is working. I mean, that's how liberal the community and the society over there is. And I said, well, it's not everyone that has the opportunity to leave this country. So for those of us that are still here, I will continue to make things work. Today is Thursday, and you know what that means. I have the very much respected chief political editor of Guardian newspaper joining me live on the show today. His name is Mr. Muyiwa Adeyemi, and of course he comes with so much every Thursday. We get to do this together from 4 to 5:30 p.m. Interesting conversation we're going to have on the show today, and it centers around the performance index of the cabinet of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. It's going to be a year that the president assumed office on the 29th of May next month. It's going to be a year, but then the cabinet didn't come up until 4 months after. So it's going to be 8 months that we've had out of the 45 ministers in President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's cabinet. Of course, we have certain federal ministries, and some of them have states, like Ministry of Youth, for instance. There's Federal Minister of State, there's Federal Minister of Youth, and of course for states, and there's also Minister of Defense, there's also Minister of State for Defense. There's no official Minister of Petroleum as such, but we have Minister of State for Petroleum. And so we look at all of those cabinets, and of course don't forget that the majority of the senior special advisors or SA media or to the president have the same how do I put it now, more like a portfolio that the minister enjoys. So it's a large cabinet of about 45 members. We look into all of that, and we look at how far, how well, so far, so good. But we certainly, streamline our conversation and narrow down our search on certain ministries. One is going to be the Minister of Power, and the Honorable Minister of Power, Adebayo Adedibo, has been in the news for a lot of reasons. I would play you a sound bite, and that was when he addressed the press last week Friday, what he said, and then we'll also play you a sound bite of the response that Barrister Femi Falana also gave to the position of the Minister of Power. We'll also look at the Ministry of Agri and Food Security, of course headed by Abubakar Kyari. We'll also look at the Ministry of Defense headed by Muhammad Badaru and Bello Matawale, the immediate past governor of Zamfara State. We'll look at the Ministry of Finance, and also look at the minister doubles as the coordinating minister of the economy, Mr. Wale Edun. We'll look at the Ministry of Works, Dave Humai, the immediate past governor of Ebonyi State. We'll also look at Information and National Orientation, Muhammad Idris. We'll also look at the Ministry of Interior, headed by the immediate past member representing Akoko Southwest Federal Constituency in the House of Representatives, Honorable Lubumi Tunji-Ojo. We'll look at some of these ministries that have instant and direct impact on the Nigerian people. So that's what we're going to focus on the show today. We run through from 4 o'clock. By 5 o'clock, we take the headline news, pay some bills, and I would come back. So it's a loaded package for us on the show today. But we'll take a quick break. I'll play you 2 sound bites back to back. The first is the voice of the Minister of Power, Mr. Honorable Bayo Adelabu. And of course, I would play you by Femi Falana. He's talking about the position of the electricity tariff hike, and he, the Minister of Power, has the constitutional power to effect such hike. We'll talk about all of that on the show today. Mr. Adeyemi, like I said, is here. Is the chief political editor of Ghana newspaper. Good evening, sir, and thank you for joining me on the show today.
Good evening, Lagos, and how are you enjoying your holiday? Okay.
Talking about that, by the way, the state had extended the holiday for another day. So if you happen to be a worker in Gombe and you are listening to me, enjoy your holidays till tomorrow. I mean, I've always wondered, maybe we should talk about that for a few minutes before we play the sound bite. In a country that has such a fragile economy, in 2017, I did a job with an agency, and then we had to run a data check on how much the country loses each time we shut down the economy under the guise of public holiday. As of 2017, we lose about 10.3 billion every single day that we shut down the economy because of public holiday. About 2 weeks ago, there was the Easter celebration. So we had Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday shut down. Now we're here again. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 3 days, and this is not like the main Salah. We still have the celebration in a couple of months or maybe a couple of weeks, and then by the time we get into May, we celebrate May Day, we do Children's Day, on the 12th of June we do Democracy Day. So almost on monthly basis we have 2, 3, 4 days where we entirely shut down the economy. Mr. Adeyemi, does this say how serious we are as a people, or perhaps is a necessity? After all, people work so hard and they need to rest. Talk to us about that real quick.
Well, I think without impinging on the rights of many people, the holiday is getting too much, especially the religious holiday. And I think we begin to now look at the section 10 of the Nigerian Constitution, and is classifying us as a secular state. If Nigeria is still the secular state, and the number of public holidays we are getting in the name of religious activities, then we will not begin to, I think, see the contradiction in what we confess to be and what we are doing. The holiday is too much, whether we like it or not, for any serious country. I think 2, 3, 4 days. I think if the Salah is supposed to be 2 days, why can't we take that 2 days? Why are you increasing it till Thursday? Against some states, and I can assure you, once has been extended till today, most ministries, I think,
even the ones that did not officially extend till tomorrow, the Friday is silent.
Tomorrow is gone. Apart from most banks, apart from private organizations that will operate, but go to any government office tomorrow, I can bet that you can't get anything done tomorrow. Try the country. In fact, if I go to federal ministry, go to the federal secretariat, you know how Friday looks before.
Even when there's no public holiday, Fridays are the weekend start on Thursday.
So it's too much.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's just do this sound bite. The first will be the voice of the Honorable Minister of Power, which is Honorable Adeyemi, talking about how Nigerians don't have the culture of management of electricity. You listen to that, and then when we come back, we'll also listen to what Barrister Femi Falana said about the increment of the tariff. And when we come back, today is a scorecard. It's celebration. It's a public holiday, so it gives us the time to sit back and reflect on how far we've come, especially the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. That will be a year next month, and the cabinet also will probably have spent about 8 months in office. How well have they come? How good have they performed? And then we'll have the opportunities to go through all of those ministries one after the other. Maybe not every of the 45 cabinet, but of course we'll look at the key ministries, and then we'll come talk about all of that. You're live on Milan 98.3 FM. It's the Situation Room, and I'll be right back.
We must be able to talk to ourselves. We don't have the culture of consumption management in this country in terms of power. Just because of the cheapness of trying to pay back. A lot of people come back from work, they want to have dinner, a bunch of days, and their colleagues down the road. They sit on the race to the Pune before they come back. Yes, Some people go to work in the morning, the freezer has been left on for days. They will still eat on. When all the items in the freezer already frozen, and after 8 hours of their absence, we not able to release. They will still eat it because we are just because we are not paying enough. We've all been overseas before. We know how conscious the power consumers are to consumption of electricity.
Well, I just listened to the Minister of Power, Mr. Adeyemi, and I think I also listened to him on Friday. With profound respect, I have studied the provisions of the Electricity Act of 2023. I cannot identify the role of the Minister of Power with respect to the increase in electricity tariff. That is the exclusive responsibility of the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, and going by the law, increase cannot be justified under the Electricity Act. Specifically, Section 116 of the Act provides that a licensee shall be allowed, a licensee that operates efficiently shall be allowed to recover full cost of his business activities. There's nobody who can say to that the discos are operating efficiently in Nigeria. To that extent, the provision of the law has not been met. Secondly, in order to increase electricity tariff in the country, the proposal from the licensees, the discos, shall be published in the Federal Government Gazette and newspapers that have wide coverage in the country for the purpose of alerting consumers and other stakeholders in case they want to raise objections. And they have 30 days to do that. Those objections should be considered at a public hearing by the Commission. It is when there is an agreement substantial that the proposal will be allowed to increase electricity tariff. If it is not accepted, it is not going to be allowed. So the point I'm making therefore is that the federal government or the Minister of Labour and the Commission did not operate under the law. Secondly, by November last year, the Minister of Power, Mr. Adeyemi, did say this electricity tariff, they're not talking of subsidy, electricity tariff, because Nigerians were undergoing some hardship, and today the hardship has become harrowing for the majority of our people. Whether you call them people in band A or band C or whatever, Nigerians are undergoing excruciating economic difficulties. Now, coming to the reasons adduced by the minister, with profound respect, in 2021, the federal government announced that by 2022, subsidy in the electricity sector will be ended, and by March 2022, the then Minister of Finance and National Planning, Madam Zainab Ahmed, announced publicly, so you can Google, you will find it, that the federal government had secretly ended electricity subsidy, but were unable to do so in respect of fuel subsidy because of the forthcoming election. So if the federal government announced, the most competent person, the Minister of Finance at the material time in 2022, that we had ended electricity subsidy, where for goodness sake, as the Minister of Power got the figure of 3 trillion in 2024. The same minister did say last year, in January this year, I think January 15 to be specific, when government was under pressure from the IMF, we are spending 700 billion. We spent 700 billion last year on electricity subsidy. We cannot afford same. But by last Friday, the figure had metamorphosed to 3 trillion.
Things seems anxious and uncertain. I understand the hardship and fear. I wish there were other ways, but yes, now. If there were,
in our quest to bring to the table issue-based conversation around nationhood and development, we have made 4 to 5:30 p.m. Monday to Friday a perfect time to welcome you into the Situation Room as we continue to build the narrative about public service and accountability.
Mr. President, this Senate needs to know. Mr. President, this Senate needs to lend its voice to the plight of these people. Mr. President, there is nowhere I can say to except here. This is where I'm elected. If I cannot say this place or this place, I better resign and leave.
As elections give the citizens the chance to make their political decisions, constant demand for quality leadership from those they voted into office.
Look at us, man, there is nothing, we are starving. We should please do something.
It's also important to having a Nigeria of everyone's dreams. Join Opeyemi Akinyode as it takes to task seasoned analysts, opinion makers, business professionals, and politicians on issues around politics, policies, governance, and leadership. Every Monday to Friday from 4 to 5:30 p.m. on your 괡sᴜ Mainland 98.3 FM will welcome you your minutes as we discuss the situations.
Okay, welcome back. The two sound bites I just played. The first was the voice of the Honorable Minister of Power, Honorable Adeyemi, justifying the need for, a certain section of the consumers in Nigeria to have their tariffs increased from 66 naira to 225 naira. They said that the one on band A, and I've made a joke all through the week that I think my own band is maybe W, or maybe don't let me exaggerate, maybe I should be on band Q because I think I enjoy like maybe 1 hour in 2 months. Is that bad? But of course, you heard his justifications that Nigerians don't have a culture of maintenance, a culture of usage, and it's a consumption culture, which is going to be a huge conversation on the show today. And of course, you heard the response by the very respected lawyer, that's Barrister Tᴜɪᴛᴛᴇʀ M𝗆ɪᴛᴛ, saying that the Electricity Act does not permit the Honorable Minister to increase the tariff, and he broke all of those down. 2022, there was an announcement for the removal of the electricity subsidy. It was a bit delayed because of the election. It was implemented. Mr. Adeyemi, we're going to start from the Ministry of Power, because your parting shot last week on the show was that if we can fix our power problems and solve our our security challenges in this country, we fixed 60% of the problems that we are facing as a nation. Yeah. Now let's start from the Ministry of Power. Maybe apart from security that got really bad about 14-15 years ago, I'm not sure there's any ministry that has had so much investment from the government. At first, 10 billion under the administration of former President Olusegun Obasanjo, and every single subsequent administration had invested huge amount of taxpayers' monies into making sure that Nigerians have constant electricity supply. But it hadn't gotten better, from the gencos to the discos, from the consumers to the people selling meters. It's been from one problem to the other, and now we're here. There's a steady increase in the consumption of in the tariffs of electricity in this country, and just last week Tuesday it was made official, or Wednesday rather, and on Friday the Honorable Minister of Power gave exceptionally well and should be retained. Or maybe we should start this way. A lot of questions that have been asked is, should we wait for the end of a term before we have cabinet reshuffle? We understand the fact that it is the right of Mr. President to choose who works for him and who works with him, according to what the Constitution stipulates. But whoever works for Mr. President means that the result must be on the people. And if the results are not coming out and the people are asking questions, do we need to wait for a certain time before the president reshuffles the cabinet? Maybe we should start from there before we stream it down.
Well, I think what we heard from President Tinubu is that he promised to do evaluation and to assess his ministers, maybe yearly or I don't know, but he mentioned that they retreat immediately after they were sworn, after the cabinet was constituted, and the retreat they had, and all of us said, well, that's what we wanted. Because the 8 years of Buhari, I think the ministers were not assessed, they were not evaluated. So some of them just became an emperor in their ministry, just do whatever they wanted to do, because nobody supervised them. There was no supervision even to any project. I think by Buhari, a surprise visit. They went after being briefed by a minister that this is what we are doing. He just went to go and see for himself. So Buhari throughout his tenure also was like a grand cardinal. Can I say just like a sultan, in the palace.
He just chilled.
So receiving a briefing from the district heads. So I want to say they are speaking the truth. I think he believed them. So that's why we saw all of them cold. I think that could not achieve anything. But this man said, no, the president now said he was going to assess and evaluate, and whatever shortfall of expectation, I think it will be shown a road, a door. Where he promised, we only hope to see that one. So we haven't answered that one. I think to come to the Minister of Power. Well, I think when the man insulted Nigerians, that maybe we don't have, I think the sense of how to consume rightly. That most times when there were wastages, or Nigerians don't know when to put off their AC, when they to put off their AC or whatever. But it's an insult to Nigerians, and in a better community, it's supposed to apologize. Because it's not that Nigeria didn't pay. Nigeria didn't ask Disco or Genco to give them power free. If I have money to consume, whatever I wanted to consume, you as a minister have no right to tell me how I use my money. We are not saying you should not increase your tariff. We are not saying you should not do what is right. But what are we really paying for? Are Nigeria really paying for this service they are talking about? So that is an insult. So it's reminded us that when one minister told us, Nigerians, that telephone is not for the poor. He said it in public. Yes, I never apologized. Though when he became a Senate president or whatever, he was trying to play it down. It was quoted. It was not quoted out of context, because people managing telecommunication they believe that Alpha and Omega. They never thought
the common man can afford it, and because they didn't see that privatization can work. You understand? So they saw Nitel then as the Alpha and Omega, and they have to believe so, because no competition. So nobody is whether you like once you want to make use telephone, you have to beg even those people to come and fix a little thing in your house. So we know how Nitel people became corrupt, and how they became inefficient. And for more than 100 years of that Nitel operated in Nigeria, they will not provide even 1% of what an operator is producing for now. You understand? So, and the man said it was not for the poor. So the man is still bringing the same mentality. Immediately you appointed some Nigerians into the position of power, they forget where they are coming from. So they become wonderful of nigger. So they begin to see others as ordinary useless people. Because the other side of the road. Now, when telephone now became for everybody, are people not using it? How many people are getting credit line? How many people are getting begging MTN and to borrow them credit to make calls? people are loading. People are, because you need it. But as the culture improves, because the service is available, right? How many people now say, oh, you're on your phone, you begin to talk jargons there. You are conscious of the airtime. Do you understand? You are conscious of it, so you know what to say, what not to say. Because the usage, people are getting used to how to use it based on what they can afford. Is that also? But we are talking of power supply that is not available. We are talking of a country now. Let them bring let there be a power in your community now. If a 10-year-old boy would join in shouting all never. It's like a visitor that visited your community. So electricity to many communities like a visitor. Okay, as you said that in your area maybe 1 hour and 24 hours. I said it here that I don't know the band that I belong. They will bring power. They say 1 day on 3 or day, 1 day on 3 days off. So they will bring power in my community between 12 midnight and most time by 3:34 a.m. It's gone. And for the next 48 hours, we won't see that visitor. So who uses the lights in the middle of the night?
Just to tell you, do you understand? You somebody that after going to office this morning, you came back, you sleep around 11, 12, you want to sleep by 12 o'clock. So that's when they bring this light. Do you understand? Is that when you start pumping water, or you start ironing clothes, or what will you do with it? But because of the heat now, they say let the farm blow, right? Do you understand? And you know that the next 48 hours, and that's when I see their band F or whatever, they say people consuming 4 hours a day. Am I consuming 4 hours a day? Do you understand? But and this one still has the audacity, do you understand, of saying we don't know how to use power. So we don't know when to put off the freezer, we don't know when to put off the AC. Do you understand? Which freezer is getting cold or colder now for people selling theirs to use? Do you understand? How many people rely on power supply to
freeze their products?
How many people? Do you understand? So what is not available? You are still blaming us that we don't know how to consume. At least you provide it for us. You provide it. Do you understand? Before you can know whether you know how to use it or not. His senior brother, in these circumstances, David Mark is so careless as if even holding telephone, do you understand, is what a poor man should never imagine. Do you understand? But since now the poor man have been using telephone, how many times have they gone to plead with government?
Help us buy time on it.
Even when they are talking palliative, they ask for telephone as part of credit to the part of palliative. Did they ask of it? Because it's something that's essential, that we don't consider it as a must. It's part of our life, and it makes a life communication easy and easier. So I think it's part of your budget, and you know how to use it. You see some students will tell you just book credit a term of 200 naira, and that was used for the next 1 day for 5 days, and they know how to manage it. Do you understand what I'm saying? But because it's available for them. But when you don't have something, do you understand? Even do you now, how you teaching the culture of being prudent in consuming it? What is not available? I must have it. I need to learn everything that they teach us about it. But you know what? The man, I said it in last conversation here, that from the fillers we are getting here and there, the man is just trying to learn the rudimentary of what happens, even the language
of the power sector.
Do you understand? He's a novice and a bit naive in that system. I'm sorry to use that language. Do you understand? I'm sorry to use it like that language. Do you understand? But he's a novice in that language. Even there was a joke going on around there recently that they said when somebody said he gave up when he saw that the man himself had a very powerful, beautiful power bank. So if he's carrying power bank around, then so what do you now expect? So that's unfortunate. But the truth is that the man was wrong in his comment. He's supposed to apologize to Nigerians, and so far he has not justified why he was posted to that ministry. Is to ask many Nigerians, even when our callers are calling, let them call. Let them assess him. Don't base on my own personal opinion here now. But for as far as I'm concerned, it's like you put a round peg in a square hole. So he's here to get his bearing. Do you understand? You know what? Nigerians have spent so much money on power sector, as I've said. As a reasonable minister, do you try to go and do a bit check and audit of what is happening? Do you try to see how many houses, places that have been metered? You are losing money. Some section of this country are not paying at all. There was a time the Kenya distribution company or they say whatever said that what the district was then what the district was generating was more than what 5 states in the north are generating. Not consuming. They are consuming a lot of megawatts. When it comes to return, the money being paid, that what Oshodi district then was generating far more than what 5 states combined are paid as per electricity. Do you understand? Have you tried to meet all those areas? What have you done to make them pay? Do you understand? People are not paying. That's the problem we are having. Some companies are not paying in this Nigeria. Some estates are not paying. I don't want to go to government parastatals, government military barracks, security agencies.
Even the Aso was reported to be owing.
Aso was owing over 700 million. Before they now said, chief of staff now said they sat down to negotiate, and president now ordered them to go and pay 500 million. So if Iføl owe them 700 million on record, that do you understand? Now see how much each barracks, some of the barracks we have, whether military, whether police, whether navy, whatever, how much are they owing them? Do you understand? What are communities that they are not paying? Do you understand? What have they done? I need to re-engineer their revenue system of ensuring that they meter every community. Let me shock you again. We have many big estates or whatever that they bypass the meter to get electricity to their community. What are they doing? At least to block all the loopholes. Even the loopholes of what they are doing also there. At least we know what's kind of undercutting that is going on here and there. What have they done? Do you understand? But if it is available, we all know power is not cheap anywhere in the world, right? But there was a time I was living in an estate in Adeyemi. They used to call it Fayoshe Estate. No, sorry, as far as they call it Obasanjo Estate. So on the way to Ikere, and in the last 20 years or whatever of my life, staying in that area for about 4 years, let me know that people can enjoy power 24 hours, right? But the oldest, anybody who knows Blake can bear any witness. Do you understand? Is they call it Obasanjo Estate. So the way is on the from Adeyemi to Ikere, before Ikere. Right. By the right. They built the place with red bricks.
After
like this.
Christ School.
After Christ, red bricks. Red bricks. You understand? We go to Ikere. They used to enjoy power 24 hours. But all the houses there were metered. My brother, if you wake up 6 a.m., you won't see a security light on again. And those people at times will go there by 6 in the evening, you won't see a single security light on
yet.
It's after 7:38 9 you begin to see people putting on their security light. I'm not talking of inside there. I'm not talking inside. I saw people there that once they put on the television in the sitting room, once a friend, I have a good friend there. He was one of the regional managers of Union Bank and staying in that estate, still staying there. I saw that was the first time I noticed that most time he won't put on light in the sitting room.
So the TV would provide illumination.
Well, my friend, what's happening? You're not putting light. I said no. He said the children reading in their room, they put on the light there. We are, myself and my dad, we are watching television. Why do we need light? Just be burning. I think just be consuming an extreme units. You don't need. He told me that day. I'm talking about 6 or 7 years, about 7 years ago. Now, do you understand? So if in those estates, people know that once you put on your card, it's being metered, because if you buy 5,000 credits and you say you are using it for a month, and one man said he purchased 8,000 credits and it's not taking up to 3 weeks. That's what are you consuming? Because of that one, now you see everybody being conscious of it. I also have a cousin. Whatever he says going out, you switch off all his appliances. Not appliances, the meter
itself.
So there won't be any chance of reading by any chance. Do you understand? And I have a colleague also in office living around Maryland here. She said whatever she's going out, that we ensure that they put off not just the appliances, they switch off the meter until they come back, because they know that once they come back, the freezer will work throughout the night. I'm telling you of the experience of people. What people are telling us. For you not to wake up because maybe you have some people in Foko or Oniyori that not metered. Do you understand where it comes from in Ibadan there? Where some many villages and many shanty communities were not metered. Do you understand? And they are putting off light in the afternoon for 1 or 2 hours. They are giving them per week. So it's use that to speak, to generalize and speak about all Nigerians. think he's where is the misfit for that office? So if he's misjiving, so I think you should understand.
Well, but maybe on that scorecard, when you call us on the show, you would certainly rate the Minister of Power in that. It's very clear. The beauty of democracy is it allows us to put on the table everybody's interest. I mean, whoever is serving in the cabinet of Mr. President, even though he's on the appointment of Mr. President, but they're being paid with taxpayers' money. So automatically, even though they are accountable to Mr. President, they're supposed to be responsible for Nigerians. So it's within our expectation or our responsibility as a profession within the media space to constantly explore what they do while in office, and that's exactly what we're doing on the show today. Let's keep the Minister of Power to one side. Let's talk about Mr. Abubakar Kyari, that's the Minister of Agri and Food Security. Mr. Adeyemi, I've been privileged. It's a privilege to have moved around virtually every state of this country, spent at least a night. I was making a joke earlier in the week. I said the only state I've not spent a night in this country was Anambra, and I just did 2 nights, which that means I've conquered, I've ticked all of that tick box. And especially if you go by road, it gives you the opportunity to understand how blessed this country is in terms of land mass, in terms of green areas, in terms of arable and virgin lands where virtually everything you plant on it can grow. Mr. Adeyemi, we cannot deny the fact that as it is now, Nigeria is having the problem of food shortages. You want to look at it from the area of security. They said farmers cannot go to farms anymore. We'll come talk about the Minister of Defense and Minister of State for Defense after this one. But what can you say about the Minister of Agri and Food Security under the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu?
Well, the man is on maybe intentionally or unnecessarily quiet, that you hardly hear or know what he is doing. But without talking, we can feel him with the price of the food. So we can feel his action or inaction with, I think, what is happening in our markets and what's happening on our table. And let me say something. Recently, I was doing a work on President Tinubu's promise on agri and on his manifesto and all those things. And I saw there where they said the federal government in the interim will quickly cultivate maybe 500, maybe 50,000 or 5,000 hectares of land. At least to quickly grow fruit and all those things they mentioned. Well, if they've cleared land in Benue or in Kebbi or in Sokoto or in Niger, where that has a large expanse of land, I don't know, and I've not read. But to me also, all those things are, I think, are not solutions. At least to the problem. And the problem, if as a minister in government policy, is that we have the identified first problem we have is that in our farms today, what's the population? It was age bracket of people in still farming. They are aged people. It's a big problem. Secondly, is that how can you make farming attractive to the youth? Then how can you now make farming as a business? Unless we have the orientation of agribusiness, in which everybody will see agri as a business. I had a very terrible experience. By the time my father loved farming, even when he nearly retired, even before he retired, I think he was one of those people that were occupying the land of a Federal University of Agri, when they have not used their permanent site, doing a kind of farming there, because he really loved it. But you know what? By the time you spent a year then to nurture a cassava for a whole year for the thing to mature for harvesting, by the time you sell it to these village women or people, these women to turn into gari or something else, you go that you clear almost a plot of land, right, of cassava, almost a plot of land. At least for them to sell, to process. So that's one now. I think we have this pickup pickup. They call it pickup. You know, you have pictures there. You know, this open roof like this.
Half bag.
Just that they will come and come farm, come and carry it. So that the amount they paid the driver that came to the farm, not too far from Abuja, if you know the permanent site of Alambata Road, what they will pay the driver is more than what they paid for the cassava.
To buy the cassava itself.
Yes. So and now when I finished my NYSC, that's where before I came to Lagos, I joined them that farm. So just because you have no choice, right? I discovered for a planting season, what I was writing down because it was riding B2 then. So you buy petrol, your B2, you carry it there, all of you come back about 4 or 5 there, you working. The only thing we gained, because after calculating how much you spent on to buying petrol, at times when you get some ants to work for you, you understand? So calculating the money to when you finish selling almost 7 or 8 hectares of land, hectares of land, as well the only gain we had was the one we had. The only gain we had was what we consumed at home. So that's one I was discouraged as a young man to go into farming. Because I saw it as a venture that I think is only going to be poor in life. You understand? You can dream of going into. Then now imagine we had opportunity of tractor. We have opportunity to operate a mechanized farming. So and the land was there that we did not have capacity to cultivate. That instead of just 7 hectares of land that we did, so we had opportunity of cultivating up to 100 hectares of land with planter in a mechanized farming. So the selling a plot of land to 60 by 120 cassava will not make an issue to me. Do you understand? But because is a kind of a subsistence farming, there is no youth that will go into subsistence farming now. Nobody, because in the world we are, they've mechanized farming. So I would have expected the minister, whoever do you understand, to encourage mechanized farming. Vote ballot paper gets to every street, every ward during election. So there is no way the tractors, planters, I think the machines to output equipment,
we don't find our ways to those communities.
We are not saying you should give them. Instead of giving people money they cannot account for in the name of palliative, import all these machines. Let there be cooperative society. Farmers will quickly form a cooperative society in each ward. Do you understand? And when you are starting with local government, start with those with what you can do. Make tractors, make machineries available for whoever wants to go into modern agriculture to go into it. If in America, not in America, even in South Africa and many African countries, you see tractors coming to plow ground land for people. After that one, you see planter. Do you understand? Will come. Where a machine will work for 8 hours, bring the whole village to the place they want to do it in a week. What a machine will do in 8 hours. 50 people, 60 men with their 6 packs.
They will do it in a week.
They would do it in a week. Do you understand? So that's only one. That's what is needed. But that one, I can say that here we have lands in where I come from. I'm from Imeko now. That's the Ogun State, and we have many farmlands uncultivated. Because I would like say I go back to now and start and do subsistence farming to achieve what. But if I know that I can have access to renting a tractor there now to plow the land, I will go and take it. In some communities they do it as a loan. By the time you are harvesting, you pay them back. Do you understand what I'm saying? So with that one, many youths will go back into the land because it has become a business, and I know that when we are going to planting season, if I invest in the next 4 months, let me go and pick loan anywhere to hire this, to hire that, and kind of thing. If I know that I can get tractor, can get those planter at the subsidized available, I know that in the next 4 months
I make my profit.
I make my profit. Let's say I'm investing like 500,000 now. Let's say to cultivate maize, you know, and the kind of thing as I go into this season, and I know that in the next 4 months I'm going to make another 500,000 naira. Would I go into it? I will go into it because I know that I'll make my profit from it. Do you understand? And I'm not going there at least to go and use cutlass and hoes. Do you understand? To become an old, as old people were doing in the ancient days. So, but instead of this people to think right, so they were bringing all this kind of a formula that will not work. Do you understand what I'm saying? And in North, most of them are still using donkeys and cattle to plow. But after using donkeys and donkeys to plow because of the nature of that land, can they use to plant? What kind of fertilizer is available for them? What's the quality? What kind of quality of herbicides that are available for them? So provide a conducive environment for more people to go into farming. You are going to get results in the next 5-6 months than the kind of nonsense you are doing. I know a lot of people that even if you stop urban rural migration, well, by the time some of these young guys finish secondary school in their community, they have no job. But I did think that Greek has become a business, so an investor will go to those communities and add value that to whatever they are producing there. So there will be cottage industries around all those areas. You see people coming to Lagos. Almost every month or every by the time they finish work, 2 months they're running to Lagos for a job that's not available again. So what I'm saying that until I see any minister of agric that's providing a conducive environment that will encourage many people to go into farming, I'm not ready to assess anybody of them fairly. One, even some governors, do you understand, are paying, most of those are paying lip service to agric. They will tell you, go and see their budget, how much they say they're having for agric. It's just for overhead, right? But some will tell you, we have a farm, so. Who asks the government to go and plant? What will come out of that plant? From that farm? What will come out? Why do you have to go? In that community, if you make those equipment available to
give it to the people in the communities.
We are not saying it should not be free because you have to maintain them. But if you know that, for me, do you know in the olden days, even to plow, let's say to clear the bush, to come to local language, right? In some of the communities we have here, they will say they will gather themselves. There's a kind of a mini cooperative format that 50 strong men like this will come to your farm. We work for 2 days, you feed us, you do everything. So next tomorrow we go to your own farm. They do that. They call it Aro in Yoruba land. You understand? It's kind of a mini cooperative setting. Do you understand what you do for each other? My brother, the food we are providing for those 50 people that will come and work in your whatever.
Those are your profits.
I'm not only your profits, you might not need half of it. Do you understand? At least to pay for a tractor that will do 10 times
of what those able-bodied men would do.
You're only wasting energy. Do you understand? You are in this modern day, you are wasting energy using cutlass and hoes to start clearing every piece of wheat. You understand? You are wasting energy, and it's unfortunate that in this century we are still talking of that. Let Tinubu government want to fight this matter. Let them make agric attractive to the youth. Let them make it attractive to almost everybody in Nigeria. Do you understand? We all have communities and we have many lands following, nothing happening in those lands. But who tell me anybody that can encourage the son or whatever, you understand, to go and start taking cutlass and hoes at this age? You better join them and selling spare parts.
Even the people that went to University of Agriculture, they are not even into farming.
But some of them wanted to provide environment. Some of them loved it. Some Nigerians loved it. Up to many Nigerians love it, but not to the extent of using cutlass and hoes. Because you are exposed what is happening all over in the world. You see how agric is being practiced in Israel, even in India,
even
in China,
in Turkey,
in South Africa here, in South Africa, in Rwanda.
And then I wake up and carry hoe and shovel and
yes, as if you see Adamic age. So, but how many? We are not the man to tell us how many tractors have they provided.
Okay.
How many planters have they provided? How many communities have they reached? Do you understand? If the man can tell us what on that I'm okay, but if you tell us that he's giving money to Israel is for people who are married third wife, I'm not interested.
I think 2 months ago thereabout, I was watching the chairman Senate Committee on Agric, and he was talking about the fact that Nigeria needs about 85,000 tractors, and we have less than 5,000 in circulation, which is really disturbing. By the way, that's the misnomer.
So 85,000 tractors,
and we have less than 5,000 in circulation.
How much is this? How much is they selling each of them? How much? Just like how much are they selling them? So why can't the minister just wait in this year, in the first year, we cannot provide 85,000 at the same time?
Let's do 5,000, 10,000.
Let's do 10,000 first. People, the money for this palliative nonsense they are doing, let's divert it to go and buy these tractors. Do you understand? They will buy more than 50,000 tractors. So we can buy up to 50,000 tractors now. Do you understand? And next year you're able to buy another 50. Don't you feel the impact everywhere?
You will.
Would you have hope? But if you buy those 50 tractors now as we are talking, in the next 5 months, you see the impact. You see the impact everywhere in the country. So if you must say that we out of 85, only 5,000 is available in the country, what's he doing about it?
Okay, that's on Minister of Agric and Food Security for Honorable Minister Abubakar Kyari. I will leave the waiting to the callers. The phone lines have been buzzing, but we would have to pick the calls when we come back from the headline news and the break. I'm also seeing a lot of messages here. And by the way, we're streaming this program on Facebook, and it's facebook.com/Mena98.3 FM. Seeing comments on that space also. Mr. Muyiwa, we have about 4 more minutes to go on the first, but let's introduce. We've talked about the issue of power sector, and many times we've seen people being arrested from stealing cables, for stealing transformers. That's insecurity. We just talked about agriculture and food security now. A lot of farmers cannot go to their farms. A lot of people's cattle are being rustled every time. That's insecurity. That should take us to the Ministry of Defense itself. I'm trying to stay calm in this, because I will look at the Minister of Defense, that's Muhammad Badaru, and the Minister of State for Defense, which is Muhammad Bello Matawali, the immediate past governor of Zamfara State, a state that had running battle with terrorists for 4 years while he was governor, and he was being made to be Minister of State. You said it in last week that when we fix power, we fix security, everything else would align. In 2 minutes, when we come out, we'll continue from there. Talk to us about how well you think the Honorable Minister of Defense and Honorable Minister of State for Defense are functioning in their responsibility of protecting this country, Mr. Adeyemi.
Well, I think the Minister of State, I think his record not that good enough to start talking about him when he was governor, right? Because that time, I think as the band is almost taken half of that estate. Do you understand? And so if he was a governor, I think he could not fight bandits in his own state, that he knows the nooks and crannies of that particular state of 16 or 18 local government, right? Zamfara was created out of Shukudu. Yes. So if he could not fight bandits in that area, and we were expecting now to perform miracle at least
at the national level.
At the national level, where you have terrorists, you have You have a Niger Delta boys, I think, with a lot of sophisticated equipment. You have a Boko Haram, so understand. So you can see that what we are talking about, the issue of insecurity goes beyond an individual. And so because for me, I always tie insecurity to, I think, to a lot of social and economic, factors. Because as we are saying, if the boys are supposed to go to the farm, they understand with tractors, work, tire, come back home, sleep, and have hope for the next 2-3 months when they are going to harvest their produce. So if those boys are idle, you understand? So they must insert that energy
into something else.
Something else. So unfortunately,
it's crime.
So we have that one going on. So if also that the electricity man is gallivanting around dancing with discos. So if the no power supply, even for people also to do what they're supposed to do, you understand, you keep many people out of job. I think all these SMS, all these small scale industries we have in the country, how many of them are still operating? Do you understand? This is supposed to be the engine room of the economy. So if all those people that are supposed to keep these people busy, do you understand, are idle, so what do you expect them to do?
No, let's hold on there, Mr. Adeyemi. Apologies for cutting you short.
I've seen our guy.
We need to take the headline news by 5 o'clock, and then once we're done with that, we also quickly pay some bills. In 2, 3, 4 minutes, the show will return. I'll read your messages, pick your calls, then we'll wrap it up on the issue of security. Maybe we'll extend this conversation to next week. It's a scorecard, and we're looking at the performances of the cabinet of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The show returns in a few minutes. Don't go anywhere.
Headline news on 98.3 Mainland FM.
Good evening. Headline news on Mainland 98.3 FM. My name is Omobola Sandra. President Tinubu, governors, dignitaries nationwide observe Eid prayers, emphasize unity and support for leaders. Ijaw youths demand ends to military invasions, arrest in Niger Delta communities over Okwema killings. JAMB says 2024 UTME notification slip ready for printing. Ogubanjo's family sues U.S. charter service that operated fatal helicopter crash. On the foreign scene, European Union lawmakers approve sweeping migration reform to tackle decade-long divide. Female Vietnamese billionaire sentenced to death over $44 billion fraud. In sport, South African legends to be pushed out of Manchester United as Ineos rebuild continues. That's the headline news on Mainland FM. Details at 5:30.
Mainland 98.3 FM. Don't touch the dial. 98.3 FM. Don't touch the dial.
Have a way of taking us on a journey, and when you add plenty of vegetables like efo, ugu, and seasoned with the rich taste of North seasoning cubes, even better. So go ahead and elevate your meals with more vegetables and the rich taste of North cubes. Today, eat for good.
Are you a real estate developer in Lagos? Do you want to see the business of real estate development done to global best practices? Are you eager for a more cordial relationship between real estate developers and government in Lagos? Do you want a boom in the Lagos real estate sector? Then vote Dr. ᴑᴜ as Chairman, Real Estate Developers Association of Nigeria, Reader, Lagos State Chapter.
A vote for me is a vote for continuity, and for progress of Reader Lagos. We're counting on your votes. We can do this together. Thank you.
Superstores is here again.
Yes, that's why we are identifying with you, our valued customers, at this moment of purity, love, sacrifice, and dedication to God.
As part of identifying this year, our valued customers in a season of faith, supplication, and sharing, Tğe̟ Superstores will be offering you up to 50% discount for some products across all sections in all our superstores nationwide.
This is fantastic.
Yes, so for all your groceries and non-grocery items, household needs, food items at the most affordable rates, bakery items, electronic gadgets, religious materials, and wonderful gift items for your friends, families, loved ones, religious and corporate organizations. Tğe̟ Superstores is the best place to shop at this period.
So what are you waiting for? Hurry now. Shop at Tğe̟ Superstores today.
Offer valid while stock lasts.
Visit Tğe̟ Superstores nearest to you in Egbeda, Idimu, Igondo, Okeafa by Jakande Gate, and Ipaja by Abeso. We are also at Abuleba, Alakuko, Odogiyo in Ikorodu, another branch along Itoitu Road, Ikorodu, and in Ojore, Ota, Ogun State. For more unbeatable shopping experience,
Tğe̟ opens Mondays to Saturdays 8 a.m. to 9:30 p.m. and on Sundays 9 a.m. to 9:30 p.m.
For more details, visit our website at www.tğe̟superstores.com.
For online, home, office, or special deliveries, call or WhatsApp us on 090-6287-3274 or call the customer care line on 090-6287-3267.
Visit Tğe̟ Superstores today and get discount up to 50% on some products in all sections of our superstores nationwide.
Tğe̟ Superstores. Shop and smile.
Takes a plate of jollof rice to the next level of goodness. Is it when it is cooked with non-seasoned cubes for that sumptuous taste? Or when you serve it with correct Nigerian salad, cabbage, carrot, lettuce, and a bit of kidney beans? It's both. Season your jollof with the rich taste of Knorr cubes and serve with plenty of vegetables. So, go ahead and elevate your meals. Today, eat for good.
When your whole world comes crashing down, What do you have for breakfast? We are the sound of Lagos, and this is Tᴜɪ̀ᴛᴛᴇʀ 98.3 FM.
Things seems anxious and uncertain. I understand the hardship in faith. I wish there were other ways, but yes, now. If there were,
in our quest to bring to the table issue-based conversation around nationhood and development, we have made 4 to 5:30 p.m. Monday to Friday a perfect time to welcome you into the Situation Room as we continue to build the narrative about public service and accountability.
Mr. President, this Senate needs to know. Mr. President, this Senate needs to lend its voice to the plight of these people. Mr. President, there is nowhere I can say to except here. This is where I am elected. If I cannot say these things on this floor, sir, I better resign and leave.
As elections give the citizens the chance to make their political decisions, constant demand for quality leadership from those they voted into office.
Look at us, man, there is nothing, we are starving. We should be doing
It's also important having a Nigeria of everyone's dreams. Join Opeyemi Akinyode as it takes to task seasoned analysts, opinion makers, business professionals, and politicians on issues around politics, policies, governance, and leadership. Every Monday to Friday from 4 to 5:30 p.m. on your super dial, Mainland 98.3 FM will welcome you your minutes as we discuss the situations.
Big shout out to the traffic and compliance people for helping us take one or two of the adverts so that I could have enough time to talk to the people. You're live from Mainland 98.3 FM. It's the Situation Room. My name is Opeyemi Akinyode, and the chief political editor of Guardian newspaper, Mr. Adeyemi, is live with me in the studio. From 4 o'clock when this show started, we've looked at the scorecard, more like a brief overview of how some of the key cabinet members of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu had performed in the last 8 months that he's been in office. Remember, this administration will be 1 year on the 29th of May 2024. That's next month, and today is the 11th of April, and that's just a little over maybe 40 days or less than that. The administration will be a year in office, and then we're looking at these key cabinet members. Started up with the Minister of Power. We played the sound bite of the Honorable Minister of Power, Honorable Bayo Adelabu, where he talked about the fact that Nigerians don't have the culture of consumption in how we use our electricity. We'll also look at the issue of agri and food security. Mr. Adeyemi really broke that down into the details and how much we need to make agri business lucrative in this country, enticing and inviting for young people to get into the business, because it's as simple as that. I would not go to school, spend all of the millions to finish my education, spend 7 years for a 4-year course, after all the ASUS trouble, and then I want to go into agriculture, and then I want to still hang my cutlass by my waist and put my hoe by my shoulder and go into the farm to till the ground. I mean, it's giving us all of those, that we can do. Now, we started off with the defense ministry, and we started off with evaluating the performance of Honorable Minister Mahmoud Badar and the State Minister of Defense, which is the immediate past governor of Zamfara State, Muhammad Bello Matawale. So we close it up real quick, and then we'll also talk about the Ministry of Finance. We'll talk about the minister, that's Mr. Wale Odun, the Minister of Finance, and the coordinating minister of the economy. Then we'll open the phone line 0913-600-0410. I know the lines will buzz up, and then you can also drop your comment on Facebook. Mr. Muyiwa, let's just close it up a little bit so now I have more time to talk to the people. You were talking about the Ministry of Defense, and obviously it links everything together. Unemployment, low supply or support within the economic policies, all of that would also lead to insecurity. But how can you assess the performance of the Minister of Defense and the Minister of State for Defense as well?
Well, I think I don't want to be unfair today, because they met the problem, which did not start with Tinubu administration, but they promised they can do it. So, and the president even said, "Don't pity me, I applied for the job." So he said he knew things were bad, and he promised to come and fix those challenges. So, but when it comes to the issue of insecurity, not much has been achieved that deserves, I think, any part in the bag or any commendation. But people have been saying two major ways of addressing this matter, looking at kinetic and non-kinetic approach. The kinetic approach has failed us, whether we like it or not. And when people are, some people are not getting the issue of fighting all these criminals. They didn't get it right. And if you are fighting a conventional warfare, that you know where your enemies are, it's very, very easy to use your Tucano, to use your jets,
or to fight them,
and to go and fight them. But the gentleman you think is he look so good, look handsome, even carrying a sophisticated phone beside you. Do you understand? Next minute will behave like a terrorist. Indeed, a terrorist, because they don't write it on their forehead. So who know? So that's why no matter the level of equipment you have, you may not use them. Continue to stockpile all the sophisticated equipment. You understand? You may not be able to fire a shot because you don't know them, you can't see them. That's the problem we're having. So engaging discipline with only conventional warfare approach will certainly not give results, and that's why it's not been giving a result. Now, what are people expecting? People were expecting a kind of security forces or a kind of security network that will give enough intelligence to the security, where we involve the people in it. Do you know what? There was a magazine published. Yes, there's one magazine published. They call it Intelligence. It's been published by an astronomy in England. And they don't sell it, but you must be a member of the diplomatic society or whatever to have access to that magazine. That particular magazine, before 9/11 happened, I think in their June or July edition, they published that Al-Qaeda will operate in the heart of America, and America will never be the same. They published it the same year. And because what? And in that magazine, that was the first time they unfolded the characters behind Al-Qaeda. Trace their history, trace their everything about them, the Bin Laden, all the people, subordinates everywhere, and even try to the extent of exposing the businesses they have. Trace them to Nigeria here, kind of where they have business interests. It's a magazine. But at the end of the day, they said they were going to succeed. They might likely succeed in their operation simply because American have abandoned human intelligence. Right. But what did they mean then? In the only days when they are fighting when they are fighting Cold War with Russia, it's hardly you see any community you don't see a CIA agent at any level. Even when people are working for CIA, they will not know that they are working for CIA. They collect information, the newsrooms, the radio stations, the military, hospital, right? They were getting information from everywhere, including to do it, because they were planning to strike during Christmas and New Year, when the whole America will have gone into festive season. Right? But when they published that one, they knew that America would try and start fortifying. So that's why they quickly rushed and do it. So I want to tell you how much of human intelligence do we put to it? What kind of information do we have from many informal way available to our security network? If this man is my colleague in school, and I know his thought, I know he belongs to a radical group, do you understand? Then what kind of channels of passing it to the appropriate quarter that I know this guy with his action, with what I see, the kind of group is getting, he belongs to, I think, to this terrorist group. Do you understand? Until we begin to gather that information, that's when we are going to unface the elements, the character behind some of these dastardly acts. So information gathering, intelligence gathering is more than acquiring sophisticated equipment, because you are not fighting a conventional war. Again, it's not creative approach. How many of traditional rulers are they getting involved? Whether we like it or not, some of these, especially in North, they have influence on their community. Not only influence, they have access to information, because they have this in the West. Let me tell you something. The information palace used to get at the palace, at the position of the palace, is more than at times what security people can tell you they have, because they have cronets, they have valets, they have people they are meeting that. You understand? The local people know exactly what is happening in their community. So how many of those opportunities are we using to fight these people? Because the terrorists are talking, they live within the community. So they were coming from the every time, or they are coming from the Cameroon when they wanted to strike. They live within that community, and many people in that community know their actions and acts. But what kind of environment do we have? Security environment that allow our security experts to have access to those information. And the kind of battle we are fighting now, you need information to fight. You need information, and you're able to get it. So I don't know if our defense ministers were thinking that direction, or they are only thinking now to get budget approved to go and buy another Tucano, to go and buy some scary guns. Do you understand? Since we bought Tucano,
have we used them?
how many times have we used it? Because Jonathan was saying that when he applied for Tucano, they blocked him from buying it. Yes, they trusted some into the hands of Buhari government. Then still available. Do you understand? How many times have they used it? Even sometimes they try to use a drone wherever to fight. It was wrong targets.
And even some of the drones were even shot down.
Wrong targets. Even we saw recently. Do you understand that innocent people were just killed with that technology? The villains also used to save their lives. Now use it to kill them. Because you don't need some of those things to fight the kind of unconventional warfare facing the country. The people, whether you like them or whether you like it or not, but you're supposed to bust all the actions but leave information.
I think we will have to continue this conversation. I mean, it's okay. It's our duty to extend it for as long as we can. But we'll have to continue this conversation next week. I mean, we're not done. We can use almost the entire edition of the show to look into the security challenges that we have in this country. But we have to quickly pick some calls so that we don't entirely ignore the people on the other side. Hello, good evening. Hello. Good evening. Just straight to the point. 1 minute. Let's go. We just have to.
My name is Ambrose. My name is Ambrose. First of all, Ogun State here alone can feed Nigeria, just like your guest has said. Come and look at the mass land in Ogun State here. How many tractors has Ogun State governor bought? At least each local government should have 2 tractors. To be able to allow people to rent and cultivate. Then the other one that has to do with electricity. Okay, we live in the same as this. How can you be telling me how to use my own light? How? Because there is no time now. That's why I'm rushing. How can you tell me that if I am using prepaid meter, you will be telling me how to use my light? The light that I want to use my money to pay. So when you want to bring this, you will bring this of 10,000 naira for a light that is not available. Epidemic.
Thank you, Pastor. Tomorrow is Friday. I'm going to just address my guest for the first 30 minutes of the program. So the next 1 hour, we just open the conversation. I know that all through this week, we've not had enough time to talk because of the quality of guests that we've been bringing. And I apologize. Hello, good evening. Hello. Okay, we got a bit late. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening, Mr.
You're welcome.
Yeah, my name is Ralph, calling from Sunday.
You're welcome, Mr. Ralph.
Okay. Honestly speaking, you see this issue of electricity is a big scam to Nigerian citizens, to the society. All know that there is no improvement in electricity. And somebody is told me that so particular people will be having 24 hours light. How do you not be having 2 hours or 1 hour? And the fact light here now, it is our turn to have light, it's more there is no light. And if you come say you don't even to 10 minutes and take light back, and bill is coming and we're paying. How can you see what you have not improved? It's a big scam to Nigeria, but I don't know what we can do. And also, don't take the discrimination between the rich and the poor. Honestly, a lot of people need to talk about the electricity. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ralph. I opened my gate this morning to come to work, and I saw NEPA bill at my gate, and I just told myself that I hope that one of these days I will run into the person that comes to drop the NEPA bill.
Done my own electronically, so you receive message. Oh yes, constantly.
They bring bill. I just opened my gate and I saw the bill in front of my house.
They send to my email and my text message.
Interesting.
Constantly. Very efficient.
Hello, good evening. Hello, good evening. Hello.
Good evening, okay.
You're welcome.
Sharp. In the case of security, where we are far from to get it right, okay? And I disagree with your guest places because we have enough agencies that we can get information from. We have DMI, we have police, we have Interpol, we have DSS, we have DMI. We have so why? Because simply because everything about us is being politicized. You understand? Now, when you look at our defense minister, two of them, Badaru and Latole, what is their, background? You see? Badaru was the defense before he became a governor here in Lagos. I don't know where he's going from. So what are we talking about? And these are the people who prove for defense. Absolutely, they depend on someone. The information that was given to them, that they will work on. You don't expect, you don't understand from certain agencies for government. You understand? So as far as we put our people on top of, affairs based on political distance, we'll never get it right. Colin Paul was a black African. He needs America to go for. You know? So what are we talking about?
Yes, I give you my word. Tomorrow we'll have enough time to look into these issues. Michael Arias on Facebook says, good evening, thank you. What did Mr. Adelabu do in the power sector before he qualified to be the Minister of Power? When you put a square peg in a round hole, this is what you get. It's okay. Professor Mike from Chicago, United States, thank you. Leo Ozuma says the major problem we have in this country is the leaders. Is that the leaders do project without proper prioritization, and most times it's based on their selfish interest. 1 kilometer of road would cost 4 billion. That's ridiculous. How can one justify building 700-kilometer coastal highway when you cannot sponsor the budget yourself? Okay. That's Leo Ozima from Isolo. Apart from the Minister of Interior, every other minister is being a misfit. Nigeria has a very long way to go to get our leadership rights. What we have now are just followers. Okay, more calls before we say our goodbyes. Hello, good evening.
Opeyemi.
Good to have you, Prince Wise. 1 minute.
1 minute, Abi?
Yes.
No problem.
Same to you.
What I want Mr. President to do, don't give whether Genko or Disco the content itself, give a timeline. Whether we put us in B, plan B or C or BW, we don't want to know. Give a timeline to give Nigeria prepaid meter. Maybe 6 months, 4 months. Any organizer will fail to give Nigeria prepaid meter to be sacked. They can repair the from them. I need a reputation company that can give Nigeria prepaid meter. That's what I need, and that's what is the lot of Nigeria need today. Okay, let me reorder.
Yes, Prince Wise, we do this tomorrow. I guarantee you. I love time to have a conversation tomorrow. Every one of us will illustrate how far we've come. This is disheartening. The country called Nigeria, that everything should be done seamlessly concerning the general public, is always shrouded in secrecy. Are these junkos and discos masquerades are bigger than the government, that the NERC refused to evaluate and appraise their performance? This is distasteful. Okay, the 10 year of performance before extension of contract, all this boils down to fraud, and the larger society are not ready to be honest, okay, within the system, and just listen to destruction. This is from Emola. Okay, Emiola. Okay, I got your message. I think I can still squeeze in one more call before Mr. Muyiwa in 30 seconds. Just cross the goodbyes for us. Hello, good evening. Hello.
Good evening.
Good to have you join us.
Good evening.
Good to have you join us. Your name and where you calling from?
My name is Robert. When the president removed subsidy on fuel, he told us that they use the proceeds to repair Nigeria. But if the president can tell, the federal government rather can tell us how much they have seen so far, we'll be very happy. So this electricity subsidy that they want to do, okay, they have removed it. How do we trust them that it's not a scam? The way they scam us on electricity? We now see the government of Nigeria. It's like they have read our brain, and they see us as maybe most of us are digital, so we can easily be used. They will just come, tell lies, largely campaign live when they get there, they scam us and they know that nothing will happen. So that's the way I see this Nigerian government. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I will continue the conversation tomorrow. And like I said, I promise you tomorrow, just 30 minutes with the guest. The next 1 hour is going to be about you. Every one of us will publicly evaluate the cabinet of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in the last 7 months and a few weeks. And Mr. Muyiwa, we have just about 30 seconds to say our goodbyes. We'll continue this conversation next week.
Yeah, I think Nigerians, as I used to say, is that let's pick up. We know that you're not getting enough from the NEPA supply. I think by the time we all let the people in power, especially the minister and our disco, whatever, are aware of what we are going through. So some people say the picking will talk say the mama no go rest. Thank you.
We continue next week. I give you my word. Gospel and our life. The show with Mr. Adeyemi. Thursday edition next week. I'll be back. But tomorrow, just few minutes with the guest, we'll open the conversation. You will evaluate your cabinet yourself. It's about the size of the package. In the next couple of seconds, the full bulletin will come through. And we'll be back by 6 o'clock for Thursday edition of Sport Cruise on Mila 98.3 FM.